Don't get your foot caught in the mire, the man warns. You glance down at his legs and see they're covered in mud from the knee down. Might be wise to listen to him. The shrine looks very much lived in, but no one appears to be home. A man in black glasses looks out over the swamp, murmuring, "Dim, dim indeed." At your question, the man sighs. "I have nothing but troubles." This man, who radiates as much gloom as the wetlands around him, is the mayor of Fenmoss. He is also a researcher who has spent many years dedicated to the study of monsters. He explains that the monsters in the swamp have grown more and more active, causing great harm to the village. This development has left him utterly at a loss. According to the mayor, the Onyx Maiden has traveled northeast to the wicked wetlands to hunt the beasts. Hoping to borrow her maiden's relic, you decide to head that way as well. To hear this man tell it, the island wasn't always covered in wetlands. The transition happened quite suddenly. He mentions that his bags are always packed, lest he need to flee a sudden mire. The maiden is the island's last hope, the old woman wails. Oh, the things the maiden has done for me. Why, any time I had a problem, she was there. The woman proceeds to rattle off a list of times the maiden had come to her aid. She clearly trusts in the maiden with every fiber of her being. The wicked wetlands are a muddied, quaggy hive of monsters. Passing adventurers meet their fate either at the bottom of the murky marsh or upon a monster's jagged fangs. It's plain that there are a great many fiends lying in wait here. You try to focus in on your surroundings. But a scream rends through the pattering rain, not far from where you stand now. Worried that someone is being attacked by monsters, you rush to the source of the scream. You spot a man frantically trying to pull something from the marshy waters. Desperation tinges every syllable of his shouts. "Hang on, I got you." Your eyes move to the man's hand, and you see that he's holding another person's. Someone has gotten stuck in the bog and is sinking into it. Now freed, the woman splutters and spits out mud. "I'm sorry this keeps happening," she says. Perhaps she is accustomed to getting stuck in bogs. The pair thanks you for your help and then offers their names. The woman is Queenie, the Onyx Maiden, who wishes dearly to save this island. The man is called Blight. Judging from his incessant fussing The man is called Blight. Judging from his incessant fussing and worrying over the Maiden's unfortunate constitution, you can only assume he is the Onyx attendant. They explain they seek a rare flower that blooms here. Traveling through the monster-infested wetlands is terribly dangerous for only 2 people. You've come this far already, so you offer to accompany them. Don't hold back. Two fight as one. As you plod and splosh your way through the mushy ground, you come across a butterfly fluttering through the air. It exudes an alien glow. The Onyx Maiden claims that this type of butterfly likes to drink the nectar of the rare flower she seeks. As you discuss this, the butterfly flies off, scales fluttering to the ground in its wake. You might be able to find your way to the flower if you follow the butterfly. Wow, what a beauteous butterfly! Fortune favors the bold. The butterfly hovers in the air, but there is no sign of the flower you seek. And now it's fluttered off again. This was, it seems, no more than a stopover on its journey. Don't hold back. The butterfly takes a little detour through some withered grass as it continues to flit through the stagnant air. The flower doesn't seem to be here either. Back on the butterfly's trail. Magnificent. Congrats. Fight him off. Two fight as one. Don't hold back. Trudging through the soppy earth, you decide to ask the Onyx Maiden about the situation on this island. For generations ongoing, the Maiden has failed in her ritual, and now the island is dying. Now its fate hinges upon the Onyx Maiden Queenie and her attendant Blight. You think on this for a moment when Laddie loses her footing and flails about, close to tumbling over. You pluck Lack out of the air and hurl it over to catch Laddie. It makes for a nice fluffy cushion to protect Laddie as she falls on her backside. Beneath the relieved young woman, the muddied plushie grumbles, "Damn it," over and over. As all this is happening, Queenie ends up falling too, despite Blight's best efforts to help her keep her footing. Mud cakes her face. Fortune favors the bold. Teamwork makes the dream work. fight him off. Fortune favors the bold. Congrats. At the end, though you are now deep into the wetlands, the flower is nowhere to be found. You wonder if the butterfly is even headed toward it at all. In the distance, you hear the lowing of a monster. This isn't where the butterfly went. Try looking for another path. Fight him off. Your party has pursued the butterfly all the way to a clearing. The butterfly that led you here is resting its wings, perched atop a flower, blooming in the center of the glade. There's the flower, Blight's voice rings out, and with a few radiant particles scattered in its wake, the butterfly disappears. Or was it never there at all? The flower blooming deep within the wetlands is a brilliant blue, a splash of color amidst the drab surroundings. With a gentle movement, Queenie reaches out a hand to pick it. Suddenly, the ground beneath the blossom swells upward, and a huge monster shows itself. Battle is upon you. Fortune favors the bold. Fortune favors the bold. Two fight as one. Congrats. The sound of Blight's lightning attack rips through the rainy bog, striking the monster dead on. Its carapace pierced, the monster sinks back into the swampy muck. Stillness returns to the wetlands, and the patter of rain is audible once more. The onyx maiden takes the blue flower gently in hand. She explains that this flower is actually a medicinal herb called clockweed. Apparently, it is used to heal wounds and is even said to turn back time for the human body, though the truth of that claim is uncertain. Sensing another monster fixing its gaze upon your party, you lead everyone back to the village. All the while, you find your attention drawn to the maiden's murmuring, drowned out though it is by the sound of the rain. This flower, buy more time. As you enter the village, a number of the locals rush your group shouting, "Welcome back, dear maiden." The villagers express their gratitude for her monster hunting, as well as their delight at the maiden's safe return. Queenie responds to each of them in turn. The Onyx Maiden, bringer of hope to the village, appears to be quite beloved by its people. Once the villagers are out of earshot, you once again ask the Onyx Maiden to borrow her maiden's relic. She is at a loss for a few moments, but then informs you that she has something she'd like to show you. She guides you to the Maiden's Shrine. You enter the inn. No point in making money if we're all gonna die anyhow, she continues, resigned to her supposed fate. I shall allow you to borrow my relic, the Onyx Maiden says, rendering you speechless. She continues on, revealing that she is actually trying to abandon her maidenly duty. But as far as you can tell, she seems to be giving her all for the sake of the village. Why then does she want to quit? The ritual means the sacrifice of the maiden. Anybody would be afraid of it. But is that her reason? As if to answer your question, Queenie slowly closes her eyes. And then... when the light subsides and your eyes regain focus, you see Queenie, and there is a bulge in her abdomen. The Onyx Maiden is pregnant. She explains that she's been using medicine made from the clockweed to keep her pregnancy hidden all this time. She has dedicated her life entirely to the protection of this island and performing the Maiden's ritual. But giving birth means her child, too, will be burdened with the same destiny of sacrifice. She wants to protect her child. That is her only wish, and she conveys it to you with all the agony of confessing a heinous crime. You can appreciate now why the Onyx Maiden wishes to abandon her duty. But will the villagers accept her decision? Queenie's anguish is plain to see as she runs a gentle hand over her stomach. Blight seems equally distraught as he holds out an arm to support her. It is not hard to imagine who the father of this soon-to-be-born child is. The anguished cries of the maiden, the last hope of a village facing oblivion, echo out in pain. Word of her condition spreads, and the villagers are unable to hide their agitation. All this time you have spent crossing the islands, Laddie has desperately sought to become a maiden. But now, having heard that Queenie wishes to abandon her own duty, she seems conflicted. The attendant divulges a little of the Onyx Maiden's feelings toward the impending birth. Over the long years of their relationship, stretching back to their childhood, Queenie has suffered misfortune aplenty. Through all that, never has she wished for anything except a safe birth for her child, whatever it takes. It seems that all the while Queenie used the clockweed to keep her condition secret, the child in her belly kept growing. Suddenly, the door bursts open, and the village mayor enters the shrine, gasping for breath. The monsters of the wetlands are amassing for an attack on the village. Fighting them off with Queenie confined to bed will be next to impossible. Your group decides to head into the wetlands and launch a preemptive strike on the Fiend's Nest where they're gathering. The rain falls in sheets. You spy the telltale signs of monsters between the drops, and in far greater numbers than before. Blight's eyes shine, and you can tell he wishes for nothing more than to protect his maiden. He advances, unbothered by the presence of the monsters. You forge onward through the wetlands to where they gather, at a place called the Fiend's Nest. You come upon a thronging nest of monsters in the innermost recesses of the wetlands. Every monster in the place has its eyes fixed firmly upon the intruders. That is, you. They roar in unison and begin to march forth. Their destination is clear. Fenmoss. The village is in grave danger. You mustn't let a single one of these beasts escape. you grip your weapon tight, ready to do battle. Oh boy, don't let a single one escape. A monster lurking in the depths of the nest rears back, its massive bulk puffing up as it inhales deeply. It looks like it's getting ready to do something, and whatever it is will be headed your way. You and your comrades stand firm in the face of the monster, readying your weapons. Fortune favors the bold. Teamwork makes the dream work. The hulking beast bellows a blast of burning flame in your direction. Whoa, danger everywhere you look. You gonna be able to handle this? Hope you win. Fortune favors the bold. Two fight as one. Hope you win. Excellent. Fortune favors the bold. Perhaps deciding that the one slain at the same moment, more monsters appear from the shadows of the wetlands and begin moving towards the village. No matter how many enemies there are, you must stop their advance to the village. You and your comrades take deep breaths and prepare yourselves to face the monsters once more. magnificent. Two fight as one. And fight. The Nest Master's monstrous bulk trembles as it menaces your party. "Steel yourselves," says Blight. As if in defiance of his determination, the massive fiend lets loose a terrible roar. You've come this far. It's time to win. magnificent. Two fight as one. Fortune favors the bold. Excellent. Fortune favors the bold. You did great. After a fierce battle, the great fiend finally collapses to the wet earth in a spill of green ichor. At the death of their leader, the other monsters lurking about all withdraw at once. Marvelous. You have managed to save Fenmos from the danger it faced. In the deep reaches of the fiend's nest, there is an altar where the Maiden's ritual is to be carried out. Tucked away in the shadows behind it, there is an egg. Perhaps the giant beast was protecting this. Any monster one day born from this egg could well pose new danger. But you decide to let it be and leave the area. The village's crisis is averted. You and your friends make your way back to Fenmos to check in on Queenie. No sooner do you pass the threshold back into town than do the villagers surround you as though welcoming home great heroes. You inform the mayor that you've wiped out all the monsters, and though he seems momentarily delighted at the news, he also seems terribly flustered. This isn't the time for that now. You start to worry about Queenie. A village woman comes running and barks angrily at the assemblage. She explains that Queenie is going into labor, which might explain the men's panic at what they ought to be doing. The woman points at Laddie. You there, come along and help. Without waiting for a reply to her demand, the woman drags Laddie off. Difficult though it may be right now, All you can do is pray for Queenie and the child's safe delivery. Guess all we can do is wait, says the man regretfully. He looks as though not doing anything makes him uneasy, and busies himself giving bits of food to the bird perched atop his rucksack. Queenie's voice echoes out of the Maiden shrine. You hope she can endure the pain. The mayor gazes out at the swampy surroundings, murmuring to himself. To think that the entire village would come together for the sake of a new life. Blight is restless, his mind clearly abuzz with worry for Queenie. A baby's cry cuts through the silence, breaking the village from its tense reverie. Time, which felt as though it had frozen, begins to tick away once again. Faster than you can let loose a sigh of relief, Blight takes off in the direction of the Maiden shrine. The baby's here. You rush after the amative attendant to the Maiden shrine. The newborn's cries echo through the Maiden shrine. The villagers present for the birth have weary but happy expressions on their faces, and they wipe the sweat from their brows. The midwife breathes out her tension. Stars above, what a relief. Truly a blessing. Truly. An elderly woman's eyes are filled with tears, as though the newborn were her own child. Laddie sits in a heap on the floor, as though unable to stand, seeming dazed from helping with the birth. Though she looks tired, she flashes you a proud smile, as if to say, "Can you believe it?" Blight asks timidly, Is the baby? A young woman hands him a cloth-wrapped bundle. Perhaps because he has finally felt the weight of his own child in his arms. Blight's expression cracks, and he begins to weep, overcome by emotion. Such a relief, he says. He repeats himself several times as he walks over to Queenie and shows her the child's face. As though having just fought a fierce battle, Queenie's face is lined with exhaustion and covered in sweat. Though her expression is somewhat pained, she looks at her child with a smile of deepest affection. The Onyx Maiden and her attendant have named the child Melanie, a word from the language of spirits, meaning eternal happiness. With a tear-stained face, Queenie gently inclines her head to her exuberant attendant. But then the strength seems to seep out of her. With those final words to her two most beloved, the Onyx Maiden's eyes close for the last time. With its only maiden lost, this island is surely destined for ruin. As you prepare to sail away, you notice that the island is submerged just a bit more than it had been when you arrived, almost as though the ocean is trying to swallow it up, now that it's bereft of its maiden. When you part ways, Blight hands the now useless maiden's relic over to you. You're hesitant to accept, thinking he might want to keep it as a memento of his beloved. Only when he insists, saying, "Don't lose your home. Don't lose your island," are you persuaded. The Onyx attendant then heads homeward, vowing to make Melanie's life a happy one. Monsters run rampant across the sinking lands. The people of Fenmos remain beset by numerous hardships. From aboard your ship, you watch the East Isle shrink into the distance. Eternal happiness. You pray that is what their future holds.